Earlier this week, nature's fury cascading down on South Carolina. Unrelenting rains breaching dams, resulting in a historic cataclysm, devastation, and fatalities. Football suddenly paling through the prism of life. So while Columbia reinforces and reconstructs, the venue for the Gamecocks' home game is 643 miles away in Baton Rouge. LSU, where if nothing else, a warm, symbolic embrace awaits off the field from this week's opponent, who knows all too well about being displaced and disoriented by the elements. From Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Tiger Stadium on the campus of LSU University, you're watching the SEC on ESPN. Welcome everyone to ESPN College Football, presented by Cars.com on this very unique and special Saturday afternoon. It's the 21st meeting all time between number 7 LSU and South Carolina, the home team in this football game. Hello everybody. I'm Mark Jones alongside Rod Gilmore. Quint Kesnick down on the sidelines. He'll be joining us in just a bit. Rod, the 21st edition of this matchup between LSU and South Carolina will always be underscored, regardless of the final score, by commiseration and compassion. And really, in the face of tragedy, the fact that football has brought out the best in a lot of people.
I think that's right, Jones, and I think it was the right move to move this game here. The notion of diverting public safety away from its recovery efforts for 80,000 football fans didn't make a lot of sense. Moving it to another city, there wasn't time to do that. But I would say this. The college football community has really come together in this situation. I mean, LSU's been through this before, and they're paying it forward after Katrina for them 10 years ago. How about Vanderbilt stepping up, providing water, shoes, generators to South Carolina, and the South Carolina players getting involved with the community, helping out in the last week or so. Just tremendous effort by the college football community coming together.
Yeah, great to see people rally around the people of South Carolina. For more, let's go downstairs to Quint.
Not your typical game day here in Baton Rouge, where the first thing you'll notice as a fan at home, empty seats. As of this morning, there were only 41,000 tickets sold. The stadium seats 102,000. Driving in here today, usually tailgating, a festive atmosphere, college football aroma in the air. Not so today. I only saw 3 RVs out on the RV lot. South Carolina, though, has benefited from some wonderful treatment. LSU actually sent their plane and taxi, their charter, the Gamecocks here from Columbia. Signage on I-10, welcome Gamecocks, and in the stadium, our prayers go out to you. And moments ago when Carolina took the field, a standing ovation from these LSU fans. They're the visiting team today, but they've rolled out the red carpet.
Certainly a unique situation inside the stadium here at LSU this Saturday afternoon, and football and sports in general providing a temporary balm for what is currently ailing the state of South Carolina. We'll be back with a kick after this.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Dr. Pepper and College Football. It's a one-of-a-kind tradition. And the Venture Card from Capital One. Earn unlimited double miles you can use on any airline anytime.
Oh my goodness, the only thing he didn't do there was make the Heisman pose.
He looked bigger and stronger and badder than everybody else.
Toss it out to Fournette. Here he goes! Plays it by. See ya.
This kid is playing on a different planet right now.
Leonard Fournette going after his 4th consecutive game of over 200 yards rushing. Rod, he is an indomitable force right now on the field.
Drawing comparisons to Earl Campbell, Bo Jackson, Herschel Walker. You see the numbers there. If he gets a $136 today, he'll get to 1,000 yards and be only the 10th player to do that in 5 games. And man, he dominated September, won the September Heisman if there was such a thing. Question is, what will he do going forward?
Leading rusher in the nation. Almost 900 yards already. Meanwhile, folks, LSU winning the toss, deferring to the second half. So South Carolina will receive. Fournette will sit temporarily, as the Gamecocks will get the football first. Steve Spurrier, the head coach of South Carolina, in his 11th year. Right now, this team a little bit sideways, trying to snap out of a 3-game conference losing streak. They're 2-3 overall, and the quarterbacking situation hasn't gotten any better in the last week either. Getting ready for the opening kick. LSU has won the last 5 in a row against South Carolina. Carson watches it go out of bounds. It'll be out to the 35-yard line. And Perry Orth is going to be the starting quarterback, making his second start of the year. His last start was a 52-20 loss against Georgia. There's a look at the numbers on him. Orth completing just 49% of his passes on the season, 1 touchdown against 2 interceptions. And trying to get back on track after Lorenzo Nunez started the last 2 games at quarterback. Nunez coming on the heels of Connor Mitch, the #1 quarterback coming out of camp, but he suffered a shoulder injury against Kentucky and still won't be back for a few more weeks, Rob. So the carousel continues to spin.
Yeah, and the big change, the big issue for Perry Orth is finding a rushing attack, because Nunez was the leading rusher at the quarterback spot.
David Williams is in a tailback. And that's Farrell Cooper on the jet sweep. Arguably the most dynamic player offensively for South Carolina. Run out of bounds by Tre'Davious White.
And so when you lose Nunez, you lose a lot of your zone read quarterback making things happen. So you need guys like Cooper to get involved with the rushing attack. He's the Swiss Army knife of this offense. He can play receiver. He can play quarterback. He can line up in the backfield.
A lot of touches for him today, right?
I would think so.
2nd down and 7 coming up for Perry Orth. Three receivers out to the right, and he's going to fire. That ball thrown a little bit high, intended for Terry Guger. And it'll be 3rd down and long for the Gamecocks coming up. Kevin Tolliver providing the coverage that time. I mentioned Orth started the Georgia game, struggled in that contest as his team lost 52-20. Former walk-on looking at 3rd down and 7.
Well, he's a pocket passer. LSU knows where he will be. They will send their guys right at him.
Orth, quick drop, and it's going to be Cooper, and more Cooper today. 1st down on the catch. Thomas makes the tackle. Rod, how do they make it easier for Orth at quarterback today?
Well, you have to have a lot of high percentage passes, short passes. Try to get him some things that are easy for him to do. Remember, confidence. You're talking about a guy who had a 6-for-17 game against Georgia. So get his confidence going with the short passes.
3 receivers out to the left this time. Gets good protection. Orth tries to squeeze it into a very tight window. Incomplete. Intended for Guger, who caught the earlier pass. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
You know, Jones, Orth is facing a defense that is loaded with playmakers. A lot of speed, a lot of guys who can get after the quarterback, a lot of corners and safeties who can play man-to-man coverage and press you all over the field. So the windows will not be large.
Well, we saw number 52 there on the screen, Kendall Beckwith, real impact player. David Williams on the carry.
Yeah, he's on the carry, but I tell you, Deion Jones got there in a hurry from his linebacking spot. You mentioned Beckwith and Jones together. That tandem inside does a tremendous job. Very fast. Both of them able to really run sideline to sideline.
Loss of 1 on the play partner. 3rd down and 11. Steve Spurrier with a reputation for innovation on offense. Slings it up top and caught. Farrell Cooper with a 1st down. Got in behind the coverage of Dwayne Thomas. And no flags on the play. Actually, there is a flag down.
I think they got LSU offside.
Offside on the defense, number 92. Penalty is declined. Result of the play, 1st down.
Boy, that was a well-thrown ball.
I was going to say, how about the throw by Orth? Drops it in very nicely. Cooper out of the slot. beats right off the line of scrimmage Dwayne Thomas, who was playing him, and what a perfect throw by Orth.
Orth, a 42-yard pass. Cooper, remember, a first-team all-conference pick preseason-wise. And that was the 100th reception of his career. 1st and 10. Orth completes it out of the backfield. That's David Williams, and Williams stopped up immediately just inside the 10-yard line at about the 9. Remember, Brandon Wiles was supposed to return offensively this week. He's the usual starting tailback, number 22, right now in the sidelines, though.
Did I remember you saying early Cooper, and more Cooper? He's already had, what, 3 touches on this drive. He's been the big factor alongside Orth's great throw on that 42-yarder.
We got a flag down on the play. Yeah, Rod, how many different places do you think we'll see him line up here today?
Everything but
illegal substitution on the offense. 12 men on the field. Penalty is 5 yards. 2nd down.
He can play every spot except the offensive line.
Okay.
We'll see him everywhere. Probably line up at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, slot. He'll be all over the place.
He's the SEC's leading returning receiver from a season ago. Got 69 passes for 1,136 yards. 2nd down and 11 after that penalty. Orth fires incomplete. Good pressure up front by Godchaw. Number 57 with some good penetration.
You know, Jonesy, I think Cooper's going to get a lot of attention. Watch Thomas manhandling him. He's got that left arm wrapped around him. Cooper might be well advised to say, hey, Mr. Official.
Legal?
Mr. Official.
Is that illegal?
As long as the ball's not in the air, he can put his hands on. But he had him wrapped up pretty good. That arm gets around the backside. That's holding.
Well, another 3rd down and long coming up for South Carolina. They've converted twice already on this opening drive. Orth is going to take off. Got a lot of room. Orth stopped cold at about the 3-yard line. Looks like he may have gotten enough for the 1st down. Kendall Beckwith prevented him from launching and going airborne. And it looks like he might have enough for that 1st down.
Yeah, great decision to take off. There was just a huge lane there for Orth. Not going to run over Beckwith. He's 252, but that's a 1st down.
1st and goal for South Carolina. Orth rolling out, trying to hit the corner. Incomplete. Intended for Farrell Cooper, broken up by Dwayne Thomas. Well, head coach Les Miles of the Tigers asked the fans not to cheer quite as loudly against South Carolina because technically this is a home game for South Carolina, but I wonder how long that deal is going to hold, Rod, here with this opening drive.
I don't think his heart was in it when he said that. He might have said it to be politically correct, but I don't think he really meant it.
Okay. Sean Carson in the backfield now, 2nd and goal. Cooper, the inside receiver, at the top of your screen. Orth fires, had a man wide open, incomplete for Belton. Matrick Belton was wide open, and Perry Orth threw it behind him.
Got excited. Ooh. He had him wide open at 6'4", Belton, and Orth overthrew him. Now, Jonesy, we've seen on tape during the week that Orth tends to miss his passes high, even though he has tall receivers. Gets a little excited, gets it up there a little bit too much.
Boy, that was 6 points.
You know, I do like Adams, their tight end down here. He's 6'6".
Third and goal. Orth flushed out now. Throws it incomplete. Matrick Belton was the closest receiver. Lewis Neal in hot pursuit. And in comes the field goal unit on this opening drive for the Gamecocks.
It's a good stop for Kevin Steele's defense. Really kind of getting tough down there inside the 5-yard line when South Carolina had a 1st and goal. Little surprised South Carolina didn't even at least try to run it in at some point down there.
Interesting play selection, and in comes Elliott Fry, 10 of 14 on the season. And knocks this one through from 21 yards out. It was Fry that said he's excited to play in the quote-unquote real Death Valley. Hear that, Clemson fans? Back after this.
Get you back to the game momentarily. Adnan Burke in our college football studios. Georgia and Tennessee. Nick Chubb, who last week broke Herschel Walker's school record, 13th straight 100-yard rushing game, suffering that injury there. Your discretion, because the replay was tough to look at. Right now, crying on the sidelines. Awful to see. Mark, back to you.
Boy, you think about Chubb here and then Gurley last year.
Yeah.
Georgia backs getting hit and suffering. Hopefully not a serious injury here.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yep. But this is the first time that LSU has trailed all season. South Carolina, the first opponent to score any points in the first quarter against LSU this year. And Leonard Fournette, starting tailback, looking for his 4th consecutive 300-yard game, and he's getting some good help from the guys up front.
Yeah, how about a couple of freshmen up front? 75 Maya Tahama and 64 William Clapp. They hunt linebackers, which creates big running lanes and big runs for Fournette. Watch him here against Auburn. Watch him get to the 2nd level, knock off some linebackers, and the huge hole that's created. Great vision there. He sees the big lane. Hey, and when those shoulders are pointed toward the goal line, not a lot of guys want to get in front of him.
Now with that 10.6 100-meter speed, look at those numbers. What do those numbers say to you exactly?
Well, that number on the left tells you the offensive line's doing a great job. The number on the right says he's doing a great job.
Pretty potent combination, but here they come out passing to Fournette on 1st down. Just his 3rd reception of the season, so I guess he can catch 2, Rod, a pickup of 9 on the play.
Yeah, talking to Les Miles yesterday and Cam Cameron, one of the things we asked him about was, hey, how complete a back is he? I mean, he hasn't caught that many passes, and they said, hey, trust us. He's going to catch the ball a lot more as this season goes along, and they opened up with that.
Ran for over 1,000 yards last year, averaged 5.5 per pop. 2nd down and 1 for LSU. Fournette on the toss into the boundary. And he picks up the 1st down, gaining 3 yards. Jonathan Walton on the stop.
He runs angry. Fournette runs with an attitude. He's not a guy who's going to slow down when he sees you or necessarily try to juke you. He will outrun you or he will run you over.
It's a guy that has been the subject of Louisiana football lore since the time he was a freshman in high school. 1st down and 10. Got some talented freshman offensive linemen up front too. Between the tackles. Rod, the difference between what we saw earlier on that toss and him that time shoulder square going north-south is what exactly?
Well, I think, this is just me personally, if you want to deal with him, you need to have his shoulder pads facing the sideline. When he goes side to side, he doesn't have his Superman powers. You know, but when those shoulders are pointed at you, that's when it's all him, and you get every bit of him. And so if he's going sideways, that's when you attack. And if they do it by choice, you like that.
On 2nd and 9, he's got the fullback J.D. Moore out in front of him this time. Harris under duress and escaping. Fires incomplete out of bounds at the 44-yard line, intended for Trayvon Doral. Good heat up front by Marquavius Lewis in pursuit as we go downstairs for more from Quinn.
Well, a critical 3rd down for LSU here. Their passing offense ranking 123rd in the country. And if you're Steve Spurrier and the Gamecocks, you've dialed up a good start to this ball game. This is where you want to put LSU. Fournette not as much of a threat in the running game right now, and we'll see how Brandon Harris can handle this 3rd and long. This has been their Achilles heel all season long.
You're right, Quinn. And now you can play coverage. The first couple of downs, they were trying to take away the run. Now you can see if you can actually steal one from them.
3rd down and long. Harris has time. Complete over the middle at the 45-yard line. Caught by Doral. And 1st and 10 for the Tigers.
If there's anything that can hold LSU back, as Quint mentioned, it is the passing attack. They've only thrown for more than 100 yards in one game this season. So at some point, Harris is going to have to carry the team. And today is as good a day as any for them to get some work on the passing attack and take a little heat off of Fournette.
First down and 10 from just inside the 45-yard line. LSU's first possession of the ball game. The toss to Fournette. Crosses the 40 to the 39. Good straight arm as we go back to the studio and Adnan Vert.
Thank you very much, Jonesy. The Taco Bell studio update. Georgia Tech and Clemson. This is Wayne Gallman here. The 66-yard run had that one block, and after that, he was sprung all the way to the house. On ABC and ESPN2, Clemson's up 10-0. Jonesy?
All right, partner. 6-yard gain on that play by Fournette. Came into the game averaging almost 9 per carry. See that fullback J.D. Moore out in front of him. Harris on the bootleg. Good catch by Moore, and he's brought down immediately at the 37-yard line. Rod, you don't see a lot of teams with a fullback these days, almost extinct, and he's shaken up on the play too.
Well, and he is a huge component of that rushing attack. I mean, he delivers crushing blocks and really kind of springs Fournette, and Fournette really appreciates him a great deal.
Yeah, so much so that after a game earlier this year, when Fournette was given the MVP award of the game, he gave the game ball to that guy right there, his fullback Moore. We'll check on him on the other side of this.
ESPN College Football is presented by Cars.com. All drive, no drama. And in part by Wrangler, real comfortable jeans.
Look at the LSU band playing the South Carolina alma mater. Took them a couple of days to learn the music, study those sheets, and this was the scene pregame as they played it for the visitors from Columbia and throughout the state of South Carolina. Warm embracement and gesture by LSU. 3rd down and 3. Fournette on the sidelines now. They fake the jet sweep. Harris, he can take off, and he does to make the first down at the 32-yard line. Another dimension that Harris gives you, a 5-yard gain.
You know, Jonesy, the LSU offense to me is at its best when it's running its 2-back offense with Moore and with Fournette. I mean,
Why?
That's when they show you their attitude. They come at you. They run downhill. Now, they go to the 1-back set. To me, they're a little bit more spread out, as you see right now. 3 wide receivers. Fournette not in the ballgame.
Yeah, Geis in the backfield behind quarterback Brandon Harris, or beside him. Harris to pass. Pumped it a couple times and overshoots his receiver. Malachi Dupree had him open too.
Oh, he didn't overshoot him. Chris Lamont's number 3 got away with one.
Okay.
Oh, it looked like that, but nice subtle little trick. The left hand down low, he grabbed onto his receiver.
Sounds like a DB that's done that before beside me, folks.
There's a trick or two out there. Got away. When your hand is down low, they don't always see it. Up around the shoulder pads, you'll get flagged.
So that slowed Dupree down a little bit, huh?
Sure did.
Just enough. 10th play of the drive coming up now for the Tigers. Nose of the ball resting at the 32-yard line. A whistle.
Timeout.
And a timeout
LSU.
called by
Their first
LSU.
timeout of the half.
With time running down on the play clock with 7:01 to go here in the first quarter. The Mad Hatter going to think this one over. And we'll be back after this. Folks, on Monday Night Football, the Steelers square off against Phillip Rivers and the San Diego Chargers. Coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6 on ESPN, also streaming live on Watch ESPN. Both teams coming in at 2-2. Rivers leading the NFL in passing yards with 1,248. Meanwhile, J.D. Moore being worked on by the athletic training staff of LSU. He appeared to suffer some sort of leg injury. We've got Quint on the sidelines finding out what exactly is going on. Meanwhile, Mouton in at fullback right now. Fournette on the sidelines. This is Geis taking the toss, and he picks up the first down and then some, down to the 17-yard line. So the old lead play works. 16 yards as we go down to Quinn.
Athletic trainers and doctors down here doing stability tests to the left knee of J.D. Moore, their fullback, one of their most valuable blockers on this team. In fact, after the Auburn game, it was Fournette who gave his MVP award to that fullback. Let's see if Cam Cameron is forced to change some of their personnel groupings with their #1 fullback on the Pines.
Yeah, he's an important part, Quinn. First down and 10. Fournette still on the sidelines. Geis gets the carry, and he's stopped up almost immediately. How does it change things now for offensive coordinator Cam Cameron?
Well, I don't think it's a coincidence that Fournette is just now coming back in. He had been out since Moore was hurt. He and Moore are close. That's his guy. That's his blocker. And I think he was probably a little bit affected by that injury as well. And they gave him a couple plays to kind of gather himself, get back. This is the first time Fournette's been back on the field since Moore got hurt.
Interesting. It's kind of tough when you see that guy that close to you go down like that.
That's his buddy. That's his running mate.
Second down and 9. Fournette back in time. Got a nice block and sprung loose by William Clapp, the center. And it's first and goal. Fournette all the way down to the 1.
6'1", 6 feet tall, 230 pounds, and a stiff arm. That is gorgeous. That is a gorgeous stiff arm.
He actually was pushed out of bounds after a gain of 11 down to about the 4 where they spotted. Those offensive linemen hunting linebackers today, Rob?
Yeah. You hunt linebackers. A guy like Fournette gets to that second level. He's gone.
They run it. Touchdown, Tigers. Darrell Williams doing the honors. Williams with his first rushing touchdown of the season and the 4th of his career. As LSU rolls up its sleeves and plays a little smash ball to go up 7-3.
A little smash ball and then some. That offensive line just smashed them back into the end zone for Williams to get 6. LSU on top again.
LSU scoring a moment ago. Rod, what was the key variable on that last play?
Well, it's that offensive line. They're fantastic. Watch the double team here that you get from Posick 77 and Clapp 64. Great job opening that hole. Alexander gets one, and you see the rest of it there. It's clean, wide open for Williams to just kind of walk on in.
Comes down 4 yards deep. As we go back to the studio and Adnan Virk.
Thank you, Jonesy. Dr. Pepper Championship Drive update. Michigan and Northwestern right off the hop. Opening kickoff, it's J.U. Chesson. 96 yards for the touchdown. Northwestern leads the FBS in scoring defense, allowing only 7 a game, but already it's 14-0 for the Wolverines. Jonesy?
All right, thanks a lot, Adnan. We're here at Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Home game for the University of South Carolina, technically against LSU. I'm Mark Jones, alongside Rod Gilmore, Quinn Kessenich. This football game moved from South Carolina to Columbia earlier this week due to the massive flooding that has been beleaguering that area over the last week. Our thoughts and prayers continue to go out to the people of that region. First and 10 for the Gamecocks, and a nice run by David Williams close to the first down.
You know, Jonesy, we should note that none of the South Carolina players were actually affected. They didn't have their living quarters affected, but many of them have family and friends who were affected. None of the coaches were seriously affected. A couple of coaches had some minor flooding, they said, in their homes, but by and large, the team was okay. The community devastated.
First and 10. Into a tight window, complete to Pharaoh Cooper, brought down immediately by Kendall Beckwith. A gain of 3 on the play. And further to that point about what this Gamecock team has been through this week, classes were canceled for the week in Columbia, but the players, it's not like they get a chance to practice the entire day because there's still the mandated number of hours that they're held to by the NCAA rules.
And you don't know how this affected any individual player. Everybody is different, and some folks were more distracted than others.
And now a Wildcat formation with Pharaoh Cooper lining up to take the snap. Cooper keeps it and is brought down just shy of the 40-yard line. No gain on the play. Beckwith once again, and it was a total team effort in the truest and literal sense of the word, as the football team got out into the community to help, giving out water and other essential supplies to people in the various neighborhoods in and around the state to help provide what little comfort they could.
You mentioned water. I don't think a lot of people realize that they were struggling to find potable water.
Now, there are other sites discussed to play this football game at, notably Charlotte, Jacksonville, Atlanta. Pass complete, but short of the first down at the 44-yard line. Shamir Jeffrey picking up 5 on the catch, but it's going to be 4th down coming up. Let's go downstairs to Quint.
Yeah, Coach Spurrier asking his assistant coaches actually to clean out their lockers and grab all their old Gamecock gear and donating that to the American Red Cross. The team went through 98 cases of water this week. The tap water on campus was not drinkable.
They're going to go for it here, Quint, on 4th and 2. They're 6 of 8 on 4th down so far this year. Six on the play clock. Orth, incomplete, not even close. And LSU will take over on downs. Pharaoh Cooper was the closest player to that pass. Well, tonight on ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Hilton, has Arkansas taking on number 8 Alabama at 7 Eastern. Then at 10 in the Pac-12, a good battle between number 23 Cal and number 5 Utah. Game day at Utah. But back to that earlier game, we saw Arkansas last week, Rod. You talk about smash mouth football with Alec Collins, and they line up and smash you some.
Yeah, they bring in Alex Collins and that offensive line, the biggest offensive line in football, college or pro. That'll be nice, but I think Alabama has kind of found their rhythm back.
And, so many people had written Alabama's obituary going into that game last week at Georgia. They came away with the win. Fournette on the toss changes his mind, reversing field as only he can, but he's brought down at the 44. Let's go down to Quint for more on that Arkansas game.
Yeah, we had the opportunity to watch the Razorbacks last week winning in Knoxville. I thought they were a little banged up at the end of that game. Alex Collins, minor ankle injury. He didn't practice on Tuesday. Wide receiver Drew Morgan dislocated his shoulder in that game. He will play, but you guys mentioned it, that Arkansas offensive line averages 328 pounds, going face to face with an Alabama front four that is NFL ready. That is quite a matchup.
That one tonight on ESPN. 2nd down and 11. Harris over the middle, wide open. Down to the 35. Good catch and run by Doral. And he's just about a yard shy, or a little bit less, from a first down.
I'm a little surprised that Spurrier did take that 4th down gamble.
Why?
Well, 7-3 in the first quarter. You showed you could move the ball the first drive, and to give LSU, such a potent team, the number 7 team in the country, a short field early in the ball game, that's risky. If this results in a touchdown, that's a tough deal early to put your team behind like that.
Good point. And Kevin Steele, the defensive coordinator for LSU, pretty much expected anything and everything from Spurrier. Fournette stopped up. Not sure that he got enough. That's going to be real close. Let's see where they spot this. You got Leonard Fournette in the backfield. I'm not so sure that even if you are short, you just go for it anyway.
Oh, you do. Absolutely.
They're going to bring in the chains and measure to see if he got enough.
You're in that no man's land where you can't be certain that if you punt it, you'll actually get it inside the 15 or 20 like you'd like. And it's a long field goal, so you go for it on 4th down here.
Fournette had 228 yards rushing against Auburn, 261 against Syracuse, and then 242 last week against Eastern Michigan. They are that much short of the first down.
No doubt.
LSU hasn't gone for it on fourth down yet this year.
Yeah, well, in this position, yeah. I mean, when you got a guy that's getting you 9 on first down, you don't get a lot of 4th and 1s.
That's where stats can be a little bit misleading. 4th and 1, or less than 1, actually. J.D. Moore not leading the way at fullback. They give it to the first man through. That's Darrell Williams, who picks up the first down. Remember, if you're just joining us, J.D. Moore was shaken up a little bit earlier. They were looking at that left knee of his. Tigers pick up the first down.
Jonesy, the South Carolina game plan really defensively has been, hey, anybody but Fournette. Don't let number 7 beat you. So if you got to load the box with 8 guys, you got to bring run blitzes, do that. Make the quarterback, number 6, Harris, make him show that he can consistently throw the ball down the field. That's the game plan. Load it up now on first down. Let's see if Harris can deliver a good pass on first down.
They're going to call a timeout with the play clock running out on them almost.
LSU.
13 seconds to go here in the first quarter. And LSU leading 7-3. We're going to take a short timeout along with them. Come back to Baton Rouge right after this. The College Football Playoff Foundation is proud to renew for 2015 its Extra Yard for Teachers initiative. In partnership with ESPN, the initiative helps teachers acquire tools and resources to be even more successful in their classrooms. Now, to learn how to get involved and make a difference for teachers and their students, go to collegefootballplayoff.com. First down and 10 for LSU. Les Miles trying to get his team to avoid some of the lethargic lapses they've had in the last couple of weeks, in particular last week against Eastern Michigan. They fake the fly sweep. Fournette going east way at west, and that's good news for the Gamecock defense, Rod.
Yeah, that's the way you want them. You want the one-back set. You want them to send him toward the sideline, east-west, zone read stuff, because he doesn't have the Superman powers then. And he doesn't have Moore, the lead blocker. When they go one-back, that's the better chance you have of stopping the LSU offense, in my opinion. A lot harder when they've got the fullback.
Right, so it's just a better opportunity, but not quite kryptonite for Superman, right?
True.
Okay, because that is number 7, repping the 7th Ward, where he's from, his block in New Orleans. On this unique Saturday, the second one in October, South Carolina in LSU wearing the home whites, but then the guest became a little discourteous with that touchdown. 7-3 when we come back.
ESPN, home of the College Football Playoff.
And welcome back, everyone, to Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, on this second Saturday in October, underscored by its unique circumstances. South Carolina displaced by the massive flooding this week in and around the state, playing a home game here at LSU. The Tigers with the lead as we begin the second quarter. Harris going to pass. Threw it low, intended for Traven Durrell.
And that's your typical SEC crowd here today. Moving this game, not many folks had sufficient time to purchase tickets, and obviously folks from South Carolina, a lot going on down there. You couldn't expect folks to show up for this ball game.
Yeah, ourselves, we didn't find out until midweek where exactly we were going to go. Anyway, trying to get through to ESPN travel was a little bit of a chore this week. Third down and 14. Harris fires high, and that passing game yet to click consistently for the Tigers, something that we brought up a little bit earlier, intended for Fournette. Well, usually you see RVs lining the entire area. This is what the parking lot looked like, unusually empty.
Usually 102,000 folks in this stadium, less than half that today. But South Carolina will take it. They've done a nice job defensively. Fournette only 17 yards so far on 7 carries, a long of 11. So I think they'll be pleased so far with the defensive effort they've had in this ball game.
What is it about their scheme that's worked so far for them?
8 men in the box, really force LSU to think about throwing it. Good open field tackling. They haven't
Delay of
tried
game on the offense. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
They haven't tried to front up, go head-to-head with Fournette. They've really done a good job of tackling him, a little gang tackling.
Jimmy Keene into punt. Standing right at midfield. Trying to put this one inside the 10-yard line, but it's going to carry into the end zone and come back out. Let's go back to Adnan in the studio. What's good?
All right, thank you very much, Jonesy. Georgia has won 5 straight meetings versus Tennessee. This is Jalen Hurd fumbling inside the 5, and what a predicament. Gio Leonard Floyd is going to go all the way to the house. Fans in Knoxville aren't going to like that. Right now, it's Bulldogs leading it 7-0. Mark?
Wow, you talk about a crazy swing there. As we look at the numbers on Leonard Fournette, the 17 yards rushing, but he has the type of unpredictable talent. He can break out at any moment.
Yeah, but that's why eventually LSU will need Brandon Harris to make plays down the field.
David Williams in a tailback for South Carolina. We haven't seen much, if any, of Brandon Wiles. He hasn't gotten onto the field yet. This is Williams on the carry. Straight ahead out near the 25-yard line. Brandon Wiles, number 22, was to have returned this week after missing the previous 2 games with a rib injury. But so far, the starting quarterback, Perry Orth, making do with David Williams. Let's go down to Quint.
Yeah, you guys mentioned Pharaoh Cooper, 11 in white. He is the Swiss Army knife, as Rod called him. He's got nearly 6 touches already in this ball game. He's been targeted 3 other times. He's in the slot right now, 11.
They decide to hand it off to Williams again. And it'll be 3rd down coming up after that gain of 1. Lewis Neal making the stop.
Hey, Quinn, I wonder if you're feeling down there what I'm feeling up here, in the sense of this is kind of South Carolina's MO. This is working okay. They've handled Fournette. They've moved the ball a little bit. And the crowd hasn't really been a factor for them.
Yeah, short passing game. Steve Spurrier emphasized with us high percentage throws, chewing up the clock.
And Orth does just that, but it's broken up, Quint.
Yeah, and Rod, from field level, the tackling stands out. I mean, we've watched a ton of tape on Leonard Fournette this season. Just freight training guys, whether it's his quickness, speed, or power. This South Carolina team has come with a tackling mentality. Very impressive from field level.
Yeah, I agree. And they've been mentally tough. You know, Spurrier dodged that bullet of not converting that 4th down in 1 situation. LSU did not get points out of it, so credit the defense for being mentally tough and hanging in there on that series.
Kelly to punt. Davius White on the fly and brought down immediately. Good open field tackling. It'll be 1st and 10 for LSU after the 41-yard punt. Fournette trying to get on track when we come back. Tigers with a 7-3 lead. Leonard Fournette with just 17 yards rushing so far. Rod, you talked about how to tackle him. How do they want to do it exactly?
Well, if you're Fournette and you're facing me and I got shoulders, I'm not going up there. I can't handle that. He's as muscular as you, but I'm going to go down here if you're coming at me.
Right.
But when your shoulders are turned here, now I can get into you. Now I can go up high. But I can't go high when you're coming at me. I'm going to get trucked.
Okay, so I want to be going in at an angle.
If your angles and I got your shoulders to the sideline, I got a body. I can go up here. I can go down there. But when you're coming at me, oh, I better go low.
Well, so far, whatever they've done has worked from a tackling standpoint. 1st down and 10, and Fournette gang tackled. They talked about getting 11 guys to the ball.
Well, they got 8 guys, 9 guys near the line of scrimmage. Guys are getting off blocks and getting to him. So this is working so far. The plan for South Carolina defensively has been a good one.
So if you're LSU, is it just a matter of keeping the defense honest, why you would not have his shoulders square to the line of scrimmage most times, as opposed to just running them straight ahead? 2nd down and 6. Fournette again. Brought down, but a nice gain. Picked up 7.
Yeah, Jonesy, I think if you're trying to deal with it, you know, LSU will keep running Fournette inside, but South Carolina wants to get them out of the 2-back offense. Now, Harris can help by completing passes down the field and getting that 8th man out of the box and make them play with 2 deep safeties, but that hasn't happened yet.
First down and 10. On the toss, Fournette. Boy, you talk about taking Fournette head on that time, Rod. That's exactly what you were talking about. Jordan Diggs went low, just as you demonstrated on me a moment ago, with him coming straight at you.
Well, I didn't talk to him this week, but it's exactly what I would have told him, that they're the shoulder straight at you. You cannot stand up when that truck is coming at you. You've got to get down.
Wow. I don't know if you really win when you take them straight on like that.
That's the lesser of the evils.
Second down and 3. Fournette pounding away off the left side of that offensive line behind Tahuma, and Posick picked up a couple of yards.
You know, partner, it wasn't easy hitting you upstairs. You've been in the weight room.
I usually call for a stuntman when you start talking tackling, so you know, get that hazard pay this week. 3rd down and 1 coming up for LSU. LSU Tigers coming in undefeated at 4-0. South Carolina at 2-3. Les Miles' team number 7 in the country, according to one poll, 5 in the other. Fournette with 4 consecutive runs on this drive. Make it 5 straight runs. Fournette keeps those legs moving, and his forward momentum will give him enough for that first down, just shy of the 45. Rod, let's talk about LSU as a team. They're ranking you had them up at number 1 this week. Why?
I think I was really frustrated with some of the other teams. Ohio State, Michigan State, Baylor.
Deservingly so.
A little frustrated,
yeah.
So I shook it up a little bit, but there is a missing link with this LSU team. It is the passing attack. I love their defense, love their quickness, love their rushing attack offensively, but it's the passing attack that is the missing link, and if they get that squared away, I'm not sure who could beat them.
Right now, though, they're 123rd out of 127 FBS teams in the passing game. They hand it off to Darrell Williams. And Williams brought down at the 42. It was interesting. We had these, well, not these 2 teams, but we had LSU in their bowl game last year against Notre Dame. And Brandon Harris wasn't the starting quarterback. It was Anthony Jennings at the time. But Coach Miles talked about, and Coach Cameron talked about, Harris getting more reps and getting used to the nuances of the position and improving subsequent to that.
Well, he needs more reps throwing the ball in games.
2nd and 6, throwing, and incomplete through the hands of Malachi Dupree. They had 5 drops last week, Rod. And this one looked like it should have been caught.
Well, there are a couple things. I mean, it's not all on Harris. This ball's thrown a little bit hard, and that makes a bit of a problem, but you got to come up with this one. But you see, that was a rocket, but Dupree's got to catch that ball. The 5 drops last week, but also you've got to have a little bit more, take a little bit off the ball. You got time for it. It's a combination of things here.
Harris is just 4 of 9. There he is, Geis in the backfield beside him on 3rd down and 6. Trying to make a play here. Good move in the open field for the first down, and tiptoes out of bounds at the 28. Man, the Gamecock defense had an opportunity to get off the field but couldn't.
You mentioned the drops last week, Jonesy. This is what we're talking about. You make a perfect throw, you got to have that. So it's not all on Harris. Here's another one. End zone, got to have that one. Wow. That's Dupree. You have to make those plays. Now, when they start making the catches, Harris will start making some softer throws on occasion, I think. And his anticipation, you know, throwing before the receiver makes his break, before the receiver is open, throwing him open. He'll learn to do more of that.
Right now he's got him 1st down and 10. Geis fake on the handoff, and Harris loses his helmet. Comes off, and flag thrown on the play as a result.
Well, if he ripped the helmet off, if that was ripped off by Moore, he will not have to come out.
See what the call is here.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense, number 10. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
They call that against Sky Moore.
Yeah, that's on Sky Moore, and so Harris stays in the game because Moore was hit with the penalty for ripping the helmet off with the face mask penalty. And Moore is a key player, their leading tackler, and he's giving away, oh man, 80 pounds or so when he runs up against those linemen. He's only about 215 or so. And those linemen are coming out of him, hunting him down, hunting linebackers.
Dice in the backfield. Mouton, the fullback, leading the way. Pass complete. Dice. His momentum took him towards the sidelines. They're going to mark this right at the 10-yard line. Jonathan Walton making the tackle for South Carolina. Fournette on the sidelines right now.
Well, he shouldn't be.
Not for long.
No. I mean, you're in the red zone here. If you don't have your money man in there now.
LSU in the purple jerseys at home for one of the few times. Second down and 8. 11th play of the drive. On the fade into the end zone. Great touchdown. Malachi Dupree, but there's a flag down at the 12. Well, he put touch on that ball. Let's see if it stands.
Flag in the end zone and a flag at the line of scrimmage. But what a well-thrown ball by Harris.
And he's had a couple touchdowns called back.
Yeah.
There are 3 fouls on the play. Pass interference on the defense. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a touchdown. After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 77 on the offense. Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 95 on the defense. Those penalties offset. The try will be attempted.
Now you got the story. Touchdown Malachi Dupree. His second one of the season, 7th of his career. He's one of the playmakers they're really trying to get untracked.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, he made a fantastic catch, but what an even better throw by Harris.
You might have heard you, Rod Gilmore, talking about getting some touch on that football, because he laid that one right in the basket, right in his kitchen. Pretty pictures. Touchdown Tigers.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by the dramatically transformed 2016 Mitsubishi Outlander and Dr. Pepper and College Football. It's a one-of-a-kind tradition.
Welcome everyone to Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, a home game technically for South Carolina Gamecocks. Playing here because of the massive flooding, and our thoughts and prayers continue to go out to the people from the state of South Carolina. From the 4, it's Fenton. Got a nice seam. Fenton trying to take it home. Fenton on the loose. Gamecock Nation, how do you like that? Touchdown! 96 yards and a dash.
Jonesy, you talk about special teams and big plays and the things that you need when your offense is not explosive. Well, South Carolina just got one. Tremendous blocking right around the 20-yard line. and that hole opened up big.
Rashad Fenton goes 96 yards, almost untouched for the touchdown, and that swings the momentum right back in the Gamecocks' yard. And it's a 14-10 game. Yeah, raise your hands up if you hear me.
Back here at Baton Rouge, it is 14-10 after Rashad Fenton just went 96 yards. Take a look at this kick return, and lane integrity gets lost by LSU. They've got 8 guys who are converging to the left side of the field. They lose their lane integrity, and then take a look at the lanes that open up over here. You've got a great lane that's going to open, and not many defenders there. It only takes a couple of blocks to spring it right there. Fenton sees it, and he is on his way. There is nobody there in position. Bad pursuit angles and great speed by Fenton.
Untouched, his first career touchdown out of Carroll City, Florida, in the Miami area. As we go back to Bristol, Connecticut, and Denver.
Thank you very much, Mark. SEC action. Georgia taking on Tennessee. This is Grayson Lambert to Malcolm Mitchell. 28-yard touchdown pass, 4th touchdown of the season. It's Tennessee's largest deficit of the year, now 14-3. We want to see more demos, though, of you and Rod, Mark.
You know what, Adnan? I just hope that Rod doesn't have one of those flashbacks when we're doing those demos, because if he gets the flashbacks, yours truly could end up at emergency care.
I don't know. You're pretty jacked up, man. I think you'd be all right.
And for a nice run along the Mississippi River this morning. Great day here in Baton Rouge. Fournette in on 1st and 10, but boy, a great dart thrown to Malachi Dupree out to the 46-yard line. Check that. It's Traven Durrell for the first down.
Well, Jonesy, that's what Harris has to do if you're going to open things up for Fournette. He has 12 carries for 38 yards. You're talking about a guy who's gone 3 straight weeks for more than 200.
Having a subpar first half for him anyway. Fournette across midfield. His forward progress going to be marked at the 49-yard line. You know, interesting story with him, and you probably heard it already before. The fact that he was offered a scholarship by Les Miles as a freshman in high school. That's the first ever in the history of the program.
How about the parents who petitioned to keep him out of Pop Warner because he was too aggressive? I think there's some D coordinators who would sign a petition right now.
Yeah, good try. 2nd down and 4. Mom and Dad, Duke and Lori, wonderful parents. Second and 4. Testing that Gamecock rush defense again here. Fournette going to be stopped up short. We've seen that a lot frequently here today.
Yeah, we have. It's the 8-man front. They get 8 guys in the box here. You just see all those white shirts near the line of scrimmage. They get off their blocks. This is what Fournette is facing, and this is why Harris has to find a way to throw the football. That was the last play. Watch this right here. Look at all the white shirts. Guys getting off blocks at the line of scrimmage, making tackles, gang tackles. Too many guys at the line of scrimmage. Harris has to back them off. He's got to throw the football to get some more running room for Fournette.
Yeah, they've got some talented receivers too with Dupree and Durrell. 3rd down and 2. The toss straight ahead. Keeps those shoulders square, and then does he move the pile? He almost came out the back end of that scrum and picked up the first down. Chris Moody limiting the gain to just 5.
I don't know if he limited it. He was hanging on for the ride there. I've been in that position where you've come up to some big backs and you're hanging on, waiting for a teammate to help you out.
Toughest back you ever tackled when you were DB at Stanford? I know there's a list. You talked about Marcus Allen a lot. We got an injured player.
Marcus Allen, Freeman McNeil, either one of them could run me over. Take your pick.
That's Gerald Hawkins, the starting left tackle. A little shaken up on the play. About 5.5 minutes to go in the first half. We'll be back after this. Well, it's Saturday Night Football presented by Wells Fargo with undefeated Florida State taking on Miami. Looking to snap a 5-game losing streak to their rivals from Tallahassee. Miami and number 12 Florida State tonight at 8 Eastern on ABC. And a moment ago, Gerald Hawkins, the starting left tackle for the Tigers, walking off the field, headed to the LSU locker room.
Hawkins and Moore, two critical blockers to that rushing attack for LSU, out of the ball game right now. That's huge for Fournette and his numbers.
Yeah, Moore was shaken up earlier with a knee. KJ Malone coming into the ball game for Hawkins, and he's going to block for number 7 there, Fournette, who has had an uncharacteristically lower than average first half. Albeit the bar is set really high. This is his second reception of the ball game. A couple of flags down on the play. Fournette brought down to the 38. Mouton was out there trying to block for him. And a little bit of chatter now on the 6-yard gain and after the gain. Fournette very much a leader of this LSU team and known for his humility. Talked about him giving his Player of the Week honor to J.D. Moore, his fullback. Did the same a couple of years ago in high school when he gave his high school state Player of the Year award to a rival.
He is a tough guy, but appreciates his teammates.
There is no foul on the play for defensive pass interference. The ball did not cross the line of scrimmage. However, we do have a block in the back, number 47 on the offense. Penalty is 10 yards. Replay, first down.
That's against Keithan Mouton.
Well, Jonesy, a couple of things here. You'll see this play here with the block in the back right there. That was Mouton. But the big thing here is really noting Fournette and that he's been bottled up inside. So now LSU, they're looking at ways to try to get him the ball, get him in space, get him on track. He has 49 yards on 15 rushes, 1 catch for 9 yards, and we're in a 4-point ball game. A lot of frustration for LSU right now.
LSU ranked number 7. Harris had it knocked down at the line of scrimmage. They're going to rule it incomplete. Gerald Dixon Jr. was there to make contact and knock the ball out of his arm.
You know, talking to Lorenzo Ward, the co-D coordinator for South Carolina before the game, he said he wanted to see if number 6 could win the game. He knows number 7, Fournette, can. He wants to see if 6 can do it, and he wants to frustrate LSU. He wants them thinking about, have you given Fournette the ball enough? Our offense isn't moving. He wants that mentality for the LSU offense, and his defense is creating it right now.
Right now it's Geis in the ball game, and he takes, well, he doesn't take the carry as Harris keeps it himself on the fake and falls down at the 47-yard line, picks up 6. Let's go downstairs to Quint for more.
Rod, you mentioned frustration. I don't quite sense that yet. You know, this game's had a different feeling with the fans here. It's kind of a sedate compared to what it typically is. But from this team, it's kind of like they're in the right lane on the highway, driving the speed limit. You know, just kind of doing what's necessary. You know, not willing to swing out in that left lane and hit the gas. Not going ultra slow either, but just kind of driving the speed limit. Nice and safe.
Yeah, what do you make of the impact of the loss of Moore and Hawkins for them now?
Long term, it could be huge.
3rd and 13, passing situation complete. That's going to be short of the first down by a couple yards. Good catch by Deshaun Smith. And they're in that area of the field, 4th down, where maybe you think about it a little bit, especially a guy with a proclivity to take risk and gamble like Les Miles has in the past.
Yeah, I would think that you would go here. Now, the issue is that South Carolina has done a pretty good job against your rushing attack. But I don't think that will keep Les Miles from going ahead and taking this on 4th down. And he believes in his offense. He really likes this team. He's not going to back away from a challenge of trying to pick up a yard or 2.
They line up out of the I. Fournette is on the sidelines. Williams in the backfield dotting the I formation. And a flag down.
Delay of game on the offense, number 6. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Well, that changes the equation a little bit. You know, Leonard Fournette even said that last week during Eastern Michigan, week, they were a little bit too lighthearted. They were joking around a little bit in practice and said that coming into this week that they were putting their serious hats on, so to speak, and kind of maintaining and staying on point. But so far, South Carolina has negated all that.
Well, keep in mind, LSU had slow starts against Eastern Michigan, against Syracuse, and it was the third quarter in which LSU kind of turned it on.
The keen punt bounces at the 1, and they may have gotten this downed. And it's going to be a touchback. Nope. It's going to come back out as we go back to Adnan in the studio.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. Coming up on the Lexus Halftime Report, a tough week for Charlie Strong as Texas have been off to the worst start since the Eisenhower administration, but a huge performance from the Longhorns today. Also, Nick Chubb injured. We'll have the severity of that for the Georgia running back. And also, Michigan, one of the defenses of Michigan and Northwestern showed up in a big way. We'll tell you who. Joey Galloway, Danny Cannell, and me coming up.
Right, Adnan, as they place the ball at the 20-yard line. That was a close call. Coming down that punt right around the 1-yard line. A surprisingly close game. South Carolina completing on 1st and 10 out to the 27-yard line to Pharaoh Cooper. One more look at that punt.
Yeah, you know, Jonesy, it is the ball, not the player. As long as you are in the field of play, and it looks like he is, you can do that. It's the ball, not the player. And that ball looked like he got his hands on it before.
Give us right up the middle to Sean Carson. And a spirited run by Carson for the first down. A pickup of 10 with 2:14 to go. South Carolina with all 3 timeouts remaining. So in a pretty good situation here. Perry Orth making the 2nd start of the season. Orth takes the snap and fires complete. A nice catch and run by Shamir Jeffrey. A missed tackle on the play by White.
Precise passing by Orth. Short passes, kind of keeping this defense off balance.
8-yard gain, 2nd and 2. First down picked up by Sean Carson, the 5'8" senior. Well, interesting scenes when you're here in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Voodoo, a little voodoo around these parts.
Is there something else working for South Carolina? Kind of pregame, sprinkle a little imaginary dust.
They're cooking up something special today, Rod.
Spreading it around, letting it fall on the quarterbacks.
Orth, let's see what he's cooked up here. Incomplete. In and out of the arms of Pharaoh Cooper. So whatever that little ceremony was, that ritual they went through, didn't work on that pass, but very interesting nonetheless.
I think it's been working for him, though. Remember, in his first start against Georgia, he was 6 of 17. He's been much better today.
Down here in Louisiana, you can find somebody to put spells on people and stuff, you know.
You think because it's a home game for South Carolina, they found some of that?
2nd and 10. Orth dangerously thrown and picked off by John Battle. A great lunging effort by Battle to scoop up the interception.
Jonesy, we talk about it all the time. The middle of the field is dark and full of terror. You have to be careful throwing over the middle. And when you have a tendency to throw high, as we mentioned about Orth before, that one gets batted up. And Battle makes a great catch.
First warning.
Boy, just when it seemed like South Carolina was moving into field goal range, Ricky Jefferson might have tipped it a little bit too.
High throw over the middle. You cannot have high throws over the middle like that. They tip off, bounce off, and they usually wind up in the hands of the guys with the wrong colored jerseys.
LSU +5 in turnover margin, one of the top teams in the country in that category. Their 6th interception of the season. And Gerald Hawkins, who limped off a moment ago, back on the field. Blitz coming off the corner, and he got it off in time to number 7, Fournette. Harris hopped on that 7 train a little bit late, but enough for a 15-yard gain. First and 10 for the Tigers, just shy of midfield at the 49. 1:11 to go here in the first half. LSU with 1 timeout remaining. Let's see how they manage this clock. Harris fires incomplete. He was looking at Fournette seemingly the entire time, Rod.
Jones, you just want to go back to one thing. We were talking about that possible touchback down there. Had a nice little note from Rogers Redding, who coordinates officials, said from his perspective that broke the plane. And when it does break the plane, it is a touchback.
So even if the player reaches into the end zone.
Well, yeah, can't let it break the plane.
Fournette lining up as a receiver here, split wide. Harris over the middle. Malachi Dupree, 1st and 10 at the 23. Well, the middle of the field didn't have a lot of dark terror that time, Rod, as he found an opening. 28-yard gain.
Throw by Harris. Fearless.
1st and 10. Pass complete at the 20-yard line to Dupree again. Working against Al Harris Jr.
Only 2 catches for Fournette before today, and a concerted effort by LSU to find another way to get him involved since the rushing attack isn't working so much.
2nd and 7. Into the seam and almost picked off. A major collision involving 3 players. Dupree, Smith going head-to-head there.
Well, DJ Smith had a chance to pick this off. Watch him come over from his free safety spot, go high, and he just couldn't hang on to it. But that was his football.
He ran into teammate Rico McWilliams as well. 3rd and 7 coming up. 24 seconds to go in the first half. Fournette lining up as a wide receiver to the bottom of your screen. Harris has some time. Caught at the 13-yard line by Johnson. Tyron Johnson, the freshman, with 16 seconds to go.
You have time. You can down this. You have a timeout. You can run a play. You've got options here. He's going to down it.
And spike it. It'll be 2nd and 10 coming up. 1 timeout remaining. All at the 13. What do you make of Harris's poise on this drive?
I see some growth. I enjoy it. I think this is the kind of thing he's needed to do. LSU's need to give him the opportunity, trust him, build some confidence. He's managing this. He's made a couple of really good throws today. No Leonard Fournette on the field right now.
Harris, meanwhile, 13 of 21 passing for 135 yards. Looking to swing it here. Pulls and throws that one wisely out of bounds.
Good decision making. Don't take a sack. Don't take an unnecessary risk. Come back to play the next play.
One more play than a field goal attempt, perhaps?
Yeah, and he preserved that by throwing that ball away. Save some time, save the timeout, save the possibility of one more play. But for my money, I'd like to have number 7 on the field.
3rd and 10.
From the 12-yard line. Tigers getting a battle here from South Carolina in the first half. Harris and has to throw it away again. So the Gamecock defense, any which way you look at it from here, this is a win on this drive.
The first half is a win, not just this drive. They've shut down Fournette. They prevented a touchdown there. They're going to be in position to have a shot in the second half of this ball game. You look at Fournette, 3.3-yard average, 3 catches. He came into the game with 2 catches for the year. So South Carolina has made LSU do something different to try to get Fournette into the ball game.
29 yards out. It's good. Trent Domang knocks it through to make it 17-10 at the end of the first half of play. A surprisingly competitive and close game. And Leonard Fournette held in check. Got to have the right ingredients like gumbo in these parts, Adnan Burke. Time for the Lexus halftime report. You just can't throw anything in the gumbo, though, Adnan, and call it gumbo. Welcome, everyone, back to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. You're watching the SEC on ESPN from Tiger Stadium on the campus of LSU. And back to ESPN College Football, presented by Cars.com this week. Second Saturday in October, and a very unique one here. South Carolina, the home team, technically trailing 17-10 against LSU. Once again, our thoughts and prayers out to the people of South Carolina who are enduring the massive flooding during the course of the last week. Mark Jones alongside Rod Gilmore, Quinn Kesenick downstairs. They'll be joining us in just a bit. Big news of the first half, partner. Just 49 yards rushing by Leonard Fournette. But the good news is that his quarterback, Brendan Harris, has spread it around a lot to 7 different receivers.
I think you're right. Fournette had trouble after his fullback, J.D. Moore, went out, and Harris kind of picked up the slack. He's thrown more passes in the first half than he has in any game all year, 23. 13 of 23 in the first half. And this is, in a way, good for the LSU offense. They need to perfect their passing attack. They need to get better at throwing it. They've relied on Fournette so much this year. It's time for Harris to get involved, and they used him in the first half. But that man, I think he seems a little bit lost without J.D. Moore, his lead blocker, out there. As you mentioned, only 49 yards in the first half, and most of that, was before Moore got banged up.
Folks, if you missed Rod's tutorial on how to tackle Leonard Fournette and the physical demo, you can catch a copy of that online at Watch ESPN or WatchESPN.com. Not sure that's what South Carolina was using in the first half, but whatever that he did schematic-wise was working as South Carolina gets ready to kick off. LSU to start with possession of the football here in the second half. Out of the end zone, Dante Jackson. He's one of the faster members of that LSU team. There's a flag down right at the 20-yard line, though. Remember in LSU's game last week against Eastern Michigan, it was surprisingly close in the second half.
During the return, holding number 48 on the return team. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. First down.
They're going to bring it back. Well, Leonard Fournette, remember last week against Eastern Michigan, as I mentioned that game a moment ago, on the first play of the second half, he took it the distance on a handoff for a touchdown, and that kind of gave LSU a little bit more breathing room. We'll see if he can duplicate that same magic here. LSU looking to make it 6 consecutive wins against South Carolina. Here's Fournette. And unlike the first play of the second half last week, where he went 80 yards for the touchdown, this time stopped up behind the line of scrimmage. He actually got a couple of yards, pardon me.
Didn't you sort of expect Superman to come out of halftime with the cape on and go about 75 yards?
He spoiled a lot of people, us included. 2nd and 7 coming up. South Carolina trying to get back on track. 0-3 in SEC play. They started 0-3 in Steve Spurrier's first year at South Carolina. Here's Fournette. Coming downhill. Still on the loose. Number 7. Still upright. There's the magic we've been waiting for. A touchdown. So, Rod, he didn't do it on the first play of the second half. He waited to play.
He still has the cape. What a tremendous block inside by his tight end coming across to make that happen. That was Colin Jeter, 81. Really opened up that lane inside, and you just don't catch this guy when he gets going. It is not football once he gets beyond that line of scrimmage. It's track and field.
As you said before, he's out there just running track. And unfortunately for the Gamecocks on this last play, all they saw was his shoe size, the bottom of his cleats. He's wearing a 12. Back after this. And now time for today's Aflac trivia question. Leonard Fournette leads the FBS in rush yards. When was the last time an SEC running back led the FBS in single season rush yards? Rod, it was interesting. We went around the room last night, and not a lot of hands popped up on that.
I got nothing.
Yeah. This one's a tough one, folks. We'll get back to the answer.
I think it goes back a few decades.
Yes. And that clue won't help you, folks. Leonard Fournette went 87 yards for a touchdown. He went over 1,000 for the season in the process and 2,000 for his career. All in one quick dash. A little pooch kick. And that's going to be a win for South Carolina as they get it at the 32-yard line, 1st and 10. One more look at that touchdown run.
Well, part one, the offensive line does its job on this power play. Watch as you get the kick out block and the block up filled by the guard, number 64, Clapp. Now, once all that happens, it's time for Fournette to go to work. And he works these two defenders perfectly. A juke and speed, shoulders squared toward the goal line. And when that happens, you're in trouble.
It's over. Nothing but exhaust fumes for the defenders after that. 139 yards on the day in a blink. Let's see what kind of response the Gamecocks have. On the fly sweep, Farrell Cooper trying to get to the edge, but Rod, that LSU defense, we watched them on tape all week. They are so quick sideline to sideline.
Speed. You just saw number 33, Jamal Adams, go from the middle of the field to the sideline. Comes off the field. Looks like he's got a little issue there.
No school has more players in the NFL, going back to opening day NFL rosters, than LSU. LSU number 1, University of Miami number 2. Remember, you can see Miami tonight against Florida State.
What was it coaches told us yesterday? Guys come here thinking about being able to start in the NFL, not get to the NFL.
2nd and 11. Pass is going to be incomplete at the 38-yard line as we go downstairs to Quint.
Steve Spurrier admitted to me that his offense is lacking rhythm right now. And we've watched LSU on defense enough to know this year. The only team that's really moved the ball well on them has been Mississippi State in the second half of that game through the air. I believe you need to have a sophisticated passing attack to attack this LSU defense. I think they're most vulnerable if you can air it out a bit.
And right now, Quint, not sure that they have that with North or Nunez. And Connor Mitch still on the shelf. Right down at the 35 is David Williams by Deion Jones.
Good tackle, and I think Quint is right. You know, LSU loves to play man coverage on the back end. And if you've got a sophisticated passing attack with good receivers who can really battle man-to-man coverage, that's where you attack them.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent on that field as Kelly gets ready to punt here.
But Jonesy, I can only think of one team in the SEC with a sophisticated passing attack right now. Texas A&M.
It's a short list, isn't it? The punt out of bounds at the 20-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 on the 45-yard punt. Let's get the answer to our Aflac trivia question. Leonard Fournette leading FBS in rushing. When was the last time an SEC back led FBS in single-season rush yards? If you had John Dotley, you're the winner.
1949. I had no chance. None whatsoever.
That was a different era.
I mean, I might have gone Billy Cannon at LSU, but
yeah, that was my closest guess too. 1st down and 10 for the Tigers. Fournette stays on his feet, falls forward to gain about 4. You talked about having a sophisticated passing attack to go against LSU's defense. While we're talking quarterbacks, Brandon Harris, Orth for South Carolina, those two today. Rod, you've said it, quarterback play down this year in this conference.
I think that's right. I think once you get beyond Allen at A&M, really high-level quarterback play is hard to find. I mean, Greer seems to be coming on in Florida, but that's only been for a game. I don't know that there's great quarterback play in this conference. Haven't seen it.
2nd down and 6. Well, Harris with a nice completion there out near the 30 to Malachi Dupree working against Rico Williams.
We're seeing improved play by Brandon Harris today. And if he continues to improve, that will help LSU in their bid to win the SEC, because that is the missing component. And if they can air it out on a consistent basis, man, this offense really becomes special.
Is he ever going to get to sling it a lot, though, with number 7 in the backfield?
He doesn't have to sling it a lot. He just has to be able to be good in the clutch on 3rd down passing situations, in the red zone. Take a little pressure off.
It's down in 10 from just outside the 30. Little bootleg action. Harris flagged down. That pass caught at the 48-yard line by Trey Quinn, his first catch of the day, but will it stand? 17-yard gain, but the officials huddling back at the 29-yard line. Well, if we're going to talk about the lack of proficient quarterback play, we must add, conversely, that it's been a heck of a year for running backs in this conference, as we get the call here from the official.
Illegal shift, number 8 on the offense. 5-yard penalty, replay, 1st down.
And you look at Fournette and Chubbs, who was injured, and it's Collins at Arkansas.
You're the running back. We may be seeing a transition from a quarterback-heavy Heisman campaign to a more balanced campaign with multiple running backs on the list this year.
1st down and 15 after the penalty. Fournette straight ahead, close to the 35. Man, Rod, he takes some blows, though.
And he gives some blows. I mean, when he's running with the football, it is falling forward, shoulders lowered, right arm. Now, he's got the ball in the left arm, right arm. Watch the left arm. He's going to give a blow. He's throwing blows. Yeah. He's not just receiving hits. He runs with attitude. He runs very aggressively.
8-yard gain for Fournette. Here he is again. Out near the 1st down at the 41-yard line. Picked up 7 downstairs to Quint.
Mark, he is a powerful young man. To see him in person up close, you know, you watch him on tape, whether it was high school, last year as a freshman, or this year. I have never seen him lose the one-on-one battle. He and the defender, he is always winning that battle and always falling forward.
You know, Quint, we were looking at him before the game and sizing him up, and I don't think he's quite as tall as Bo Jackson. Maybe not as tall as Herschel Walker, but certainly built like those guys. And I think Earl Campbell is a more apt comparison for size, but not with speed and quickness.
You have an injured player down on the field for South Carolina.
It's Isaiah Johnson. He's down in the bottom of that pile, and it looks like he got it twisted a little bit, his knee.
Counted about 3 different guys it took to bring down Fournette that time. You know, when we were speaking with Fournette prior to the bowl game against Notre Dame last year, when we spoke with him, Rod, he had one of the greatest lines I've ever heard. Someone asked him about being fatigued with all the carries. He says, I don't get tired, I sweat.
That's right. Well, you know, I think right now that South Carolina defense is the one that I'd be concerned about getting fatigued. They played 48 snaps in the first half. And at some point, this wears on you. You can't play that many snaps against this defense, this offense.
Momentary fumble by Harris, and he wisely steps out of bounds with it. That's going to be a loss, though, back to the 38-yard line. DJ Smith there to run him out of bounds. They'll lose 3.
Bad snap. Good job by Harris to just get his hands on it.
A little wide right. And speaking of wide right, who do you like tonight, Florida State or Miami?
I like Florida State. Miami, to me, is still kind of inconsistent and struggling, and I think Everett Golson is getting it going at Florida State.
So you might see a banner or two flying above the stadium tonight. 2nd and 13, flags down, a little motion up front.
False start, 75, offense. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
It's against Tahuma. Talked about it. Here it is, Saturday Night Football, presented by Wells Fargo tonight. Miami trying to snap that 5-game losing streak against Florida State. We saw the Hurricanes against Nebraska a couple of weeks ago, and Brad Kyle was really fantastic slinging that ball around, even though it came down to the dying seconds.
You know what else is fantastic? You know, you mentioned those planes. How about folks trying to get a GoFundMe campaign?
What about that? Florida State people.
Yeah.
Saying that
fly more banners.
They want to keep Al Golden in place in Tallahassee. Nice move by Geis. Got a nice block on the edge. Geis out near the first down. And a slick run as DJ Smith finally pushes him out of bounds, but not before he picked up 17.
Change of pace kind of guy. He changes direction very quick. A little different style runner than Fournette, so another weapon to the arsenal.
Look at that stable of guys there.
Yeah, they're loaded back there.
Well, Fournette a sophomore, Williams a sophomore, Geis a freshman. Would do the first man through. That's Williams. Rod, tell me about the fact, if you're a running back coming out of high school right now, or if you're a receiver, what are your prospects of going to LSU, albeit they've got great talent that gets you ready for the NFL, if number 7 is there? How does that affect your decision?
I think most high school running backs will figure he'll be gone in a year.
Okay.
And that opens it up. But it is interesting. The receivers at LSU spoke about the few opportunities they've been getting, and there's a little frustration there. And Cam Cameron, the old coordinator, said, you know what? Hey, I don't mind. They should be hungry. Maybe they'll catch the ball.
1st and 10, a little play action. Harris was looking downfield, pirouettes, and then pile driven back at the 39-yard line by Marquavius Lewis. Nice sack on the play as South Carolina's defense rises up.
Not many receivers in the pattern that time, and Harris pulled the ball down and just couldn't get away. A 3rd down now. And a 2nd down and a long, long way to go here.
That was the 10th sack of the season.
You were mentioning the wide receivers, and Cam Cameron said, you know what? They're just divas.
2nd and 22. Little receiver screen. This is Johnson with nowhere to go, brought down at the 37. Well, do wide receivers kind of have a reputation for being a little temperamental? You say diva. I'm trying to dress it up a little bit.
Well, yeah. I mean, as a former defensive back, I thought they were divas. You know, gotta look pretty. You know, don't touch me.
Hater alert! Hater alert! Hater alert! 3rd and long to go.
I will tell you this. They've got a stable of guys on this team at LSU that are really quick and really fast, but South Carolina has hung in there pretty well with them this afternoon.
3rd and 24, passing situation. Harris fires high, but caught at the other end. Miraculously, touchdown Doral. Deshaun Smith was the intended receiver. There he is, 89. But it was tipped right to Doral.
Always good to be in the right place at the right time, but always good to have your quarterback hang in there and take a shot. Now, who was in the wrong place? Was that Smith, 89, in the wrong place, and he tried to catch a ball he wasn't supposed to? Or was he overthrown?
They'll worry about that on Sunday or Monday when they watch the film. For now, Durrell with his first touchdown catch of the season. 10th of his career. Sometimes, as they say, it's better to be lucky than good. Sometimes you're both. 31-10 when we come back.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Dr. Pepper and College Football. It's a one-of-a-kind tradition. And Cadillac.
Home game for South Carolina due to the fact that this game was moved from Columbia because of the flood disaster they've been experiencing over the last 8 days now in the state of South Carolina, and all our thoughts and prayers go out to the people and the recovery effort and the relief effort. Gamecocks with the kick, bringing it out to the 35-yard line. You know, we've seen the devastating images and heard the heartbreaking stories from the floods in the Carolinas all throughout the week. The Walt Disney Company, ESPN's parent company, makes a $1 million donation every year to proactively fund future disasters, so critical dollars are available as soon as those resources are needed, and ESPN committing additional funds to support the South Carolina Central Red Cross. So we continue to hope for a recovery in that area.
Well,
our prayers.
And the college football community certainly responded the right way. LSU, they went through it themselves 10 years ago with Katrina, and they stepped up to help out South Carolina, as did Vanderbilt.
First down and 10. Orth going up top, a lot of contact. Caught! Whoa, the circus came to Tiger Stadium. Shamir Jeffrey made the catch, but there's a flag at the 40-yard line. Those guys were going, well, I guess you could say back and forth, Rod, with the pushing. And there's a lot of contact down the sidelines between the receiver and the DB, Kevin Tolliver II. Here's the call.
Pass interference on the defense, number 2. Penalty is declined. Result of the play, first down.
You want to sing that as they go back and forth?
Back
yeah, they're locked up there pretty clearly. And a great one-handed catch, foot down in bounds. Double check that. Yep, left foot down.
A 22-yard gain on the play, down to the 38. Little double reverse here to Cooper. Got a block in front of him, but he's run out of bounds just shy of the 30 at the 31-yard line, and 7-yard gain on that play. Pharoh Cooper, the all-conference selection first team preseason. Did plenty of Wildcat with him last year. Been moving him around a lot in this game.
A couple of explosive plays by LSU have really put South Carolina in a bind. Their offense is not equipped to respond quickly.
2nd and 3. And another flag thrown.
Illegal substitution on the offense. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Pushes it back just outside the 35. South Carolina 2-3 overall coming in, 0-3 in conference play, and the way things are going, it's going to be real tough when you look ahead. Here's a double throw they set up, and well underthrown. Gouger did not find his target. I mean, that wasn't even close.
Well, August was out there. All he had to do was give it some air and let him go run underneath it. He probably didn't see him. But you saw that graphic earlier, only 31, now 32 plays for South Carolina in the game, and that just really hurts the South Carolina defense. They've been on the field way too long, and that pounding rushing attack of LSU, I think, is wearing on them.
Sean Carson in the backfield. Farrell Cooper, the inside receiver, the middle receiver at the top of your screen. Orth fires behind his target. Incomplete, intended for Jeffrey. 4th down coming up. Well, the way things are going, I wouldn't be shocked if he went for it.
Well, I think they have to go. I mean, given where they are and given the time of the game and the score, you're at the 36-yard line. This is a very long field goal out of his comfort range, I would think. And not that a field goal would do you a lot of good.
They're 0 for 1 on 4th down today. Trying to keep this drive alive. Right down the seam, complete. Could be a score. Touchdown, Adams. And the Gamecocks with a big-time response to close the margin. Gerald Adams, the 6'6" senior, an imposing target.
Right down the seam. Nothing other than straight down the field, wide open. Adams came over a bit late, couldn't make the play, and look at there. South Carolina comes up with a big 3rd down and gets a score.
Look at a 2-touchdown game now.
Big 4th down they came up with. That was 4th and 7, 4th and 8.
Adams, one of their leading receivers. That was his 13th of the year and his 2nd touchdown. Big fella staying upright for the score. Back after this. Celebrating its 11th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. To date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship funds. And back here at Tiger Stadium, a great answer to that last score by LSU by the Gamecocks. Adams right there with a touchdown catch and run to make it a 14-point game. South Carolina trying to snap a 3-game conference losing streak, looking for their first conference win of the year. Much like they started in Spurrier's first year. And they were able to salvage the season. Well, tonight on ESPN, it's college football primetime presented by Hilton. Arkansas taking on number 8 Alabama. Then at 10, it's a Pac-12 tilt. Number 23 Cal taking on number 5 Utah. Both games on ESPN, and watch ESPN. I love Jared Goff, the quarterback at Cal.
This is his opportunity. Yeah. You know, big time, big chance on a big stage to show he's worthy of Heisman consideration. Remember last year when we had Utah against UCLA, and Hundley was their big star, and UCLA gave up 10 sacks that night. Utah is capable defensively of putting that on you.
How much have they surprised you this year?
I mean, it was all about Travis Wilson. Really? If Wilson was going to play well, they were going to be a good team. Without that, and that's been their issue, quarterback play.
1st and 10. This is Geis. And Geis picks up about 14. You know what? Leonard Fournette seemingly has spent more time on the sidelines tonight, I think, than any other time that I've seen this year.
I think that's right, and I'm not sure exactly why. You see the numbers. He had one really big run in the second half to really kind of boost his numbers up. He lost J.D. Moore, his fullback, and I think that affected LSU offensively in the first half. We've seen Geis a bit more, change of pace, but Fournette has not been what we thought. There is more. And again, once he got banged up, Fournette came out for a few plays.
1st and 10. This is Geis again. Broke one tackle, but limited to a 1-yard gain. Clock running with 4:20 to go here in the 3rd quarter. LSU looking to remain perfect on the season.
More is so important. I mean, the entire coaching staff has said all along, and Cam Cameron emphasized it yesterday, as did Miles. Hey, they need 44, the fullback. He is the guy that really makes so much go in their rushing attack, and he is a comfort guy for Fournette. He relies on his blocks. They have this way of communicating to each other that works really, really well.
Former walk-on, put on scholarship at the beginning of the season by Les Miles. From an LSU family, mom and dad both attended school here. On the handoff, nowhere to go for Geis, and then he escapes miraculously. Whoa, bobbing and weaving. He got his full swerve on. Geis is nice. Down to the 36-yard line. Rocking his little Odell Beckham do as well. Missed tackle by Griffin on the play.
Watch the work he does here by himself. I mean, this play is going nowhere. How many tackles does he break, make people miss? 3 right there. There's another one. One more for good measure. Yep. 4 missed tackles. He turns a loss into a nice game.
Trying to tell Leonard, hey, Leonard, you can chill a little bit there.
I got you here.
Williams now in the ball game. Geis on the sidelines getting a breather. Williams with the handoff, a gaping hole through that front. Down to the 28-yard line, Rob.
You notice the other difference offensively. It's not a 2-back set anymore for LSU. Once Moore went out of the game, there was much more of an emphasis on the 1-back set for LSU. And for me personally, I think they're at their best when they use 2 backs, when they have a fullback in there. So clearly they're not as comfortable in the 1-back set, and they're running more of that now. No more, no 2-back sets.
A little smaller package maybe for them.
More east-west running.
2nd and 2. Williams again, and good running. Williams, touchdown LSU. Oh, and they're going to mark it at the 1-yard line. Looked like he had gotten in. They're going to mark it at the 1 instead. Got a good block, though, Williams did, from Tyron Johnson for the 27-yard gain. Here's a look at it.
Yep.
Oh, he stepped out of bounds.
Left foot stepped out. Great job by the officials. Yep. Right on it. Left foot right there.
See if they give it to him here to get what he maybe could have gotten on the last play. Williams finishing the job for the score. Tigers back up by 3 touchdowns. With less than 2 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, the running backs doing a lot of heavy lifting today. You're watching the SEC on ESPN from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And now let's take a look at this week's college football rankings, brought to you by Goodyear.
Well, LSU sitting at number 7. Highest ranked SEC team, and Alabama and Texas A&M lurking. You know, LSU, if they can throw the football like we've seen Harris do on a number of occasions today, they start looking better.
Top 4 better?
Top 4
college
better.
football playoff better?
Top 4 better. If they can throw the football, top 4 better. And the schedule is not a bad one for them. Things work out pretty well. They get Alabama a little bit later. They get A&M at the end of the season. Alabama's already lost 1.
Ohio State prevailing today against Maryland, and the Buckeyes, Rod, you and I were talking about it, almost playing like a team that lacks motivation and seems almost bored. Another little pooch kick down at the 39-yard line, fielded cleanly by South Carolina. It'll be 1st down and 10 from there. Let's go down to Quint.
Leonard Fournette, 100% healthy and fine. Just a spectator on that last drive as LSU, they flex their depth muscles basically to throw Williams out there and Geis out there, and you're really starting to see fatigue set in on the South Carolina sideline. Poor angles, poor tackling, body punches from LSU all day have them right on the edge.
I think you're right, Quint. 48 plays in the first half. We talked about that, wearing them out. 255 yards for LSU in the second half. This offense has to stay on the field to help the defense.
Orth throws a dart complete down to the 46-yard line. Patrick Belton. It'll be 1st down and 10. Nice gain.
You know, Jonesy, you felt like in the first half South Carolina defensively, rallying to the football, tackling well. No big plays allowed in the third quarter. A lot of big plays. Just worn down.
First down and 10. The Gamecocks playing for themselves, but also playing for an entire state today that's had a very difficult time over the last week. Nice cutback move by Sean Carson. You know, I was communicating with a good friend of mine, Frank Martin, the head coach of the Gamecock basketball team. He characterized it as a major disaster. And another friend of mine, John Avery, in Clinton, South Carolina, a good friend of mine, said they've gotten another additional 3-4 inches of rain today.
Well, and any way you want to spin it, it had to impact these players all week long.
And 2nd and 7 complete. And a chance here. Cooper. Back at you. Touchdown, South Carolina. He beat Ricky Jefferson on the coverage. And for the second consecutive time, hey, the Gamecocks have answered a Tiger touchdown with one of their own.
Well, we talked earlier about man coverage and a good passing attack and a good receiver challenging and beating man-to-man coverage. Cooper just did it.
Harold Cooper, Rod, with his 3rd touchdown of the season, the 13th of his career. And it's back to a 2-touchdown game.
You see the middle of the field. He beats Jackson right off the line of scrimmage. And then a move on the safety, Adams. Man-to-man coverage, press coverage at the line of scrimmage, beat it. And then great speed.
Hey. You keep telling me the middle of the field is filled with darkness and terror.
When you have people there,
terror there,
you got to have people in the middle.
That's the fun zone, man.
Well, when you play man-to-man coverage, you don't have anybody in the middle of the field.
Okay. There's your explanation. All right.
But typically, the middle of the field is dark and full of terror. Be wary of it.
Well, with 39 seconds to go in the third quarter, Cooper with 105 yards receiving today. That's his 7th game this year, pardon me, in his career, with over 100 yards receiving, and courtesy of the pass from that guy, Orth. And you see Nunez there beside him. He did not practice this week because of a shoulder injury, and obviously not going today.
Well, and it's changed the focus of their offense. They've gone from a quarterback running offense to a quarterback passing attack today, with Orth throwing the ball around much more than South Carolina did when Nunez was the quarterback.
They try to go for the onside kick, and it's recovered by the kicker, Landon Ard. And it seems, yes, it has gone 10 yards. Wow, they caught LSU napping. Steve Spurrier rolls the dice.
It's got to go 10. LSU not prepared, and it looked like it was the kicker who recovered. How about the way he ran alongside it, just waiting for it to get to the 10-yard mark.
5-yard penalty. We'll re-kick.
Oh, now they're saying it was touched before it went the mandatory 10 yards, I think.
Well, he was running alongside of it. Let's watch closely. Does Ard touch it? Did it hit him? He's awfully close to it.
They called offsides on the play. That was the official call. So otherwise, executed pretty well by the kicker. That was a perfect kick.
All for naught, since someone was offsides for South Carolina.
Yeah. The official said offside on 24 White. So forced to kick it long, and this is Darrell Williams. And Williams out to the 33-yard line. Great opportunity momentarily for South Carolina. First and 10 for the Tigers. Les Miles, the 2011 National Coach of the Year. Won a national championship that year. Had a great visit with him yesterday at the LSU football offices. Miles, because of the quirk in the change of venue, had a chance to go watch his son play football last night. He's got another older son that actually is on scholarship playing football at North Carolina.
Very athletic family.
This is Geis. Oh, Geis looking good today. Into South Carolina territory. And a nice gain.
He's had some huge holes to run through. He's done his work once he's gotten through them, but that offensive line can really underrate it. Really underrated. 20-yard pickup there, but he wasn't touched the first 7-8 yards.
7 seconds to go here in the third quarter. Look at that offensive line. Some big fellas up front. They run it again. 305, 327 pounds, 309, 303, 320 pounds across the front. The running backs got a lot of help. And when you talk about that offensive line, huge. Red beans and rice didn't miss those guys. Back for the fourth quarter after this. Don't miss any college football action while you're on the go, folks. Stream any game live. Download the Watch ESPN app or go to watchespn.com. Take a look at our game summary. Leonard Fournette with 158 yards rushing. Most of that coming on that 87-yard gallop in the third quarter. And Darius Geis getting a lot of touches here in the second half. And another spirited run down to the 37-yard line, close to another first down. Rod, when you look ahead to Florida next week, as we look at an injured player down on the field for South Carolina, as number 90 Taylor Stallworth, do you even think about easing back the throttle on Fournette with Florida next week?
Well, I think you will at some point, but in a two-score game, not right now. And remember, you know, LSU likes to get him about 25 touches. He's at 23 today with 20 carries and 3 catches. So he's probably going to come back for a couple more touches.
Gives to Williams. Williams brought down by Jordan Diggs.
I mean, it's a two-score game. So right now you don't assume that this game is on ice for LSU.
LSU, because of the fact that they get to play this game here in Baton Rouge, will enjoy a nice long stretch of games at home. Williams still in the backfield beside quarterback Brandon Harris. Pass complete to Dupree with a nice move on the edge. Malachi Dupree going to make it first and goal for the Tigers. Let's go to Adnan in the studio.
All right, Jonesy, thank you very much. Updating you on what's happening with Georgia and Tennessee as Volunteers have stormed back. Joshua Dobbs here, and all of a sudden we're tied up at 24. Mark, back to you.
Boy, Butch Jones could really use a break.
How about that? How about Tennessee not giving up, getting back and then taking a big lead away from somebody else after having blown 3 double-digit leads the last few weeks.
And some of those in the fourth quarter. First down and goal. Geis in the ball game. They line up out of the eye. And a little motion up front. It was Kelsey Griffin encroaching.
How about the job this LSU offensive line has done today?
Offside, defense, number 94. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. Still first down.
You mentioned the yards that Fournette has already. How about Geis? Geis has also chimed in. He's at 102 yards on 9 carries. So this offensive line, and we talked about them at the very beginning of the show, they have 2 freshmen up front.
Wow. Les Miles certainly doesn't lack for talent. First and goal. Geis and Mouton lining up out of the eye. It's going to be Geis. Straight ahead. Touchdown, LSU.
Partner, watch this hole on the right side that the offensive line creates. Pull the guard, kick out block. I think I could get through that. I think we both can get through that hole. That offensive line just wearing out South Carolina in the second half.
Geis now over 100 yards rushing with 106. The lead back up to 21. Back to Baton Rouge after this.
Now let's take a look at winning traditions driven by Goodyear. Mike the Tiger, the live LSU mascot since 1935. He is a mainstay at home games. Unfortunately for him, today's considered a road game, so SEC rules prohibit a live mascot from being in this contest. He's busy putting down his 25 pounds of meat a day. Mark and Rod, how do we sneak a 500-pound tiger into the stadium for this football game?
Dress him up like that.
I'll tell you one thing, you won't get any help from me.
No, you're on your own, Q. You are on your own.
I would have liked to have seen the tiger in the ballpark today.
Fenton, who ran one back for a touchdown earlier, this time stopped up at about the 25-yard line. Let's take a look at today's AT&T strong performance.
Well, that strong performance is really on the LSU side. The running backs have done a tremendous job. Fournette, obviously, with a huge run early in the third quarter of this ball game. How about a little help inside? Darrell Williams, big rushing attack, and also Geis over 100 yards as well today. The running backs for LSU have had a very strong performance today.
First down and 10. Well, South Carolina's been able to respond to each touchdown. Well, they did in the third quarter. This pass too high, incomplete, intended for DJ Neal. And Orth took a shot. Remember, if you're just joining us, Perry Orth got the start today, his second start of the season.
Well, and he's played pretty well. He's played much better than he did in his first start against Georgia, replacing that man right there, Nunez. He's got a bad shoulder. And I think in general you have to acknowledge the fact that the South Carolina players have played hard and generally have played pretty well, just giving up a whole lot of big plays in the second half.
Orth is 13 of 26 for 195 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Going to take off here, and you see some of that LSU defensive speed. Jamal Adams, the strong safety, running him down to make the tackle on the play. This is a school that has never lacked for players with a lot of speed. Think about Trendon Holiday, the former kickoff and punt returner here, former world-class sprinter, actually ran a 10:01 in the 100 meters, was a member of the NCAA championship track team here. 3rd and 2. Nice cutback move by Williams, and Williams with a first down at the 41.
There will be a huge ball game next week for LSU. Surprisingly, Florida has become a thing.
They've worked out their quarterbacking deal, huh?
Apparently. You knew they had a good defense coming into the season. The question was, could they do enough offensively?
First down and 10 out of the backfield, complete. Williams again, nice move, and got about 6. Here's a look at that Tigers schedule coming up. Next week they'll take on Florida, who opened up a lot of eyes with that win in the swamp against Ole Miss.
Yeah, and then take a look at how they end things here. Alabama, Arkansas, Ole Miss, Texas A&M.
Whoa.
That is a physical deal they've got. Week after week after week, very physical teams with Alabama, Arkansas, Ole Miss defensively, and then A&M has really grown defensively, so the finish of it is tough. They get some games at home, and that's the good thing for LSU.
They get a nice long stretch of games where they're at home. They give us to Carson, who keeps it himself across midfield and brought down right near that first down marker. The interesting to note about that schedule, though, they've got LSU has Western Kentucky, a bye, and then Alabama. How much does it help them, the bye week, and an opponent that isn't an SEC opponent?
Well, add to that the unexpected home game today. Extra time. They don't have to be out there traveling and whatnot. They've got their routine. They're here. So they've had a stretch, or they will have a stretch of 3 weeks or so, including the bye, that works out pretty well for them to be rested and ready for Alabama.
They're that much short of the first down. 11:02 to go here in the fourth quarter.
What about the future for Steve Spurrier?
A tough year this year so far. 0-3 start in conference play, and we tried to add up, 6-7 wins. It's going to be tough right now for South Carolina.
Tough. And there was a lot of talk about Spurrier considering retiring last offseason. That ended. He's back, and people still wonder how much longer he'll be around. And all he says is, hey, I'm enjoying it. I'm not going anywhere. But this has to be a tough year. He expected this year to be much better.
Young quarterback in Nunez, and Connor Mitch was injured early against Kentucky. Nunez, a true freshman. Orth takes the snap and lunges for the first down. Connor Mitch started the season, got the win against North Carolina, then was shaken up against Kentucky, suffering a shoulder injury, and then Orth started the Georgia game. They lost 52-20. He struggled 6 of 17. Nunez got the previous 2 starts and then hurt his shoulder against Missouri, forcing Orth to come back in and mop that one up. And that brought us to today. Run down to the 45-yard line by Sean Carson. But this is a South Carolina offense, Rod, that is just right now anyway devoid of that big play dynamic 2 or 3 or 4 guys that can make it happen. I mean, Cooper is
one guy.
It all.
Yeah, it's Cooper. He's the one guy. And the other part of that, though, Jonesy, is they can't control the ball, and that leaves their defense on the field too much. Their defense played 48 plays in the first half of this game.
Yeah.
It is no accident that in the third quarter they gave up a lot of big plays.
Orth with time, and now forced to throw it out of bounds. A little bit of heat coming his way from Arden Key, the true freshman, and really one of the best pass rushers right there, number 49 on your screen for LSU.
Young man out of Atlanta, Georgia, 6'6", 230, pass rushing specialist right now. Wait until he grows up.
Yeah.
Wait until he is full grown. But he has a very quick first step as a pass rusher. He's very athletic, very long, and he's just a pup.
3rd and 7. Orth sacked back at the 48-yard line. Lewis Neal with his 4th sack of the season. And it's 4th down coming up for South Carolina.
This is a defense that was not really aggressive and didn't make a lot of sacks last season. This year, that's changed. Better pass rush from the outside with some help from the man we talked about, Adams, but that time it was on the other side. Good job up front. Lewis Neal, 92, getting that sack. Arden Key, 49 on the opposite side.
Sean Kelly with his 3rd punt of the day. And they're going to get a chance to down this inside the 5. Well done by Kelly. He's averaging almost 42 yards per punt. It's not all Fournette all the time. This defense writing its name and signing off on this game.
College football is presented by Cars.com. All drive, no drama. And in part by Dr. Pepper and college football. It's a one-of-a-kind tradition.
Well, that's not the real Mike the Tiger, but a reasonable facsimile as we welcome you back to ESPN College Football presented by Cars.com with 8:33 to go here in the fourth quarter. LSU comfortably ahead. Leonard Fournette on the sidelines. Nick Brosette dotting the I. And the ball came loose. They put it on the ground. And Gerald Hawkins recovering it for LSU. Back to Adnan in the studio, who always has sure hands.
Oh, I appreciate it, Jones. You know how we do. Georgia and Tennessee, it was 24-3 Georgia. A minute left in the second quarter, and here they come. Dobbs to Kamara, 31-24 Volunteers. Back to you.
Boy, like we said, Butch is trying to flip the script on those end game situations for Tennessee.
Asking the fans how you like me now, huh?
Yeah.
They've been tough on him, but win today against Georgia would endear him to the faithful, the Vol Nation.
Second down and 4. Dice hitting the edge and hitting it good. Dice. The turbo kicked in and he makes it out to midfield before Isaiah Johnson finally pushes him out of bounds.
What a nice added dimension he brings that will help LSU, not just today, down the line. Great quickness, great speed, change of direction, a little different than Fournette, not as big as Fournette. A guy who can really kill you in space. And the running backs today have had a day. Geis, 145, catching up to Fournette's 158. And even Williams with a big day. Not a lot of carries, but 52 yards, 4 touchdowns already for the running backs.
And that's the player that just fumbled, Brosette, who had his head down. And you saw the leadership of Fournette going over there and giving him a little dab. Run it. And, you know, the one thing that Les Miles talked about, Leonard Fournette, says he's not really a rah-rah type of guy, not very loquacious or very verbal, but the team enjoys the success that he has and really respects his leadership.
He's a humble guy, and he shares his success. And, you know, Miles also said, look, it's not easy for an underclassman, a freshman, sophomore, to be recognized as a leader with these guys. These are serious players, but, you know this. Players respect players who can play.
Yes.
When you can play, you can get their attention and their respect.
Williams in the backfield takes the handoff. Stopped up at about the 45-yard line. Yeah, Les Miles flag down on the play. Les Miles had a chance to be at home for an extra week. And his wife Kathy was heading up to North Carolina to visit their son that plays football up that way at University of North Carolina. His wife Kathy, former basketball coach, collegiate basketball coach.
Holding, number 77 on the offense. 10-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
His daughter is a swimmer at the University of Texas. And his son Manny, as I mentioned, a football player. Ben is an H-back, a junior in high school, and coach had a chance to hang out with him last night as a perk of the change in the schedule. Second and 12. Pass complete to Dupree, who's brought down immediately at the 43-yard line by Isaiah Johnson.
You know, you mentioned earlier South Carolina and finding enough wins for a bowl game. That's going to be a challenge. I mean, their schedule is a tough one the rest of the way out. Take a look at what they have down the road there. Texas A&M, Tennessee, Florida, the Citadel, Clemson. I mean, what do you figure? You can pencil in maybe what? One win with the Citadel, maybe two with Vandy. The rest, who knows?
Darius Geis running on 3rd and 13. LSU going to punt here. Yeah, tough year for the Gamecocks.
And I wouldn't even pencil in the Vandy game as a win. No. That's a competitive game there.
Yeah.
The good news is they played hard today. Their defense did a good job in the first half, and you saw some growth with Perry Orth at quarterback. He played much better today than he did against Georgia a couple of weeks ago.
What does it mean for them, Rod, if they get Nunez back, or even if Connor Mitch comes back? Is it at a point where things can be salvaged a little bit more?
I think they'll get better. Some depth at quarterback, 2 different styles.
Dean's punt bouncing at the 16-yard line where it's down. 1st and 10 coming back the other way for South Carolina. Well, after tonight's Cal-Utah game, stick around for SportsCenter at night. Catch a full recap of the day in college football, plus all the highlights from a busy day in the Major League Baseball postseason. SportsCenter at night on ESPN and streaming live on Watch ESPN. And I know that one Hugh Jones is upset that the Dodgers and Kershaw got beaten last night. A little bit of a surprise there. Scarnecchia in a quarterback for South Carolina. And what about the Toronto Blue Jays down 2-0 right out of the box?
Stunning that home teams would drop 2 at home in the playoffs.
They gave up the crib. Look at the numbers on Scarnecchia. 6'4" freshman.
Lightly recruited. But then he impressed Spurrier at a South Carolina camp. That's all it took.
Pass complete. Out near the 25-yard line to Hayden Hurst.
He is more of a drop-back passer. Folks around the program, as you take a look at Orth with some ice on his left calf, it looks like. Folks around the South Carolina program have talked glowingly about Scarnecchia. His arm, ability, and Spurrier certainly impressed with them, and they wanted to get him in the game and get a look at him.
3rd and 2 for the Gamecocks. Hand it off, and boy, I'm not sure that Sean Carson got enough for the 1st down. Interesting that we didn't see Brandon Wilds today, and he was scheduled, we were told, to play. He was healthy enough to play, but obviously not the case. South Carolina, barring a miraculous turnaround here, will fall to 2-4 on the season overall, and 0-4 in conference play. They're going to go for it on 4th and short. Scarnecchia fumbled the snap, and the Tigers will take over on downs.
Yeah, he fumbled it forward, but didn't get it enough of it to pick up the 1st down. I think you're right. I think LSU comes back on the field, and while we have that moment as we take a look at this, just didn't get the snap.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this about Leonard Fournette. With all the talk about Clowney coming out early, should have come out early, should have just not played his junior year. We've heard some of that talk about Fournette. Miles Jack for UCLA got hurt, and he's not coming back to UCLA for his senior year. What do you make of that? Should a guy sit out?
I don't know how you just shut it down. I mean, what do you do to maintain your football skill and your sustainability and, you know, just remain a football player? What do you do in the meantime? How do you replicate what you would do an entire football season? And I'm not sure that would really hurt him, though. He's pretty good.
I'll give you my opinion when we get back.
Folks, get ready for NFL Sunday. First is NFL Insider Sunday edition with the latest news and breaking stories at 10 a.m. Eastern time, followed by NFL Sunday Countdown with Boomer and the boys providing in-depth analysis of every game. It all starts Sunday at 10 on ESPN. Anthony Jennings in a quarterback for LSU. He hands it off to Geis. Hey, let's get back to Fournette. How do you shut him down?
I don't think.
Is that talk ludicrous?
Yeah, I don't think he would do that, but I think at some point we will see a running back who's had a great freshman sophomore year shut it down for his junior season or back away after a minor injury because the name Marcus Lattimore will come up. a guy who was a surefire first-round pick, got injured in his junior year, drafted in the 4th round, but never made it back to the field. And that story still is out there now that people talk about.
Wow.
And I think at some point, when you talk about running backs, not other players, but because of the wear and tear and the risk of injury, I think it'll happen at some point.
Apparently you're going to take a risk. And let's go back to Adnan, who never shuts it down.
All right, thank you very much, Mark. By the way, let's stay positive when it comes to the Blue Jays and all that chatter. On the road, they're going to be fine. Georgia, Tennessee. How about this play? Grayson Lambert to Reggie Davis, over 200 all-purpose yards for him, 31 all in Knoxville. Mark?
Hey, Adnan from Scarborough to Etobicoke, up to Steeles Avenue, all the way down to Lakeshore Boulevard. They're upset about what's happening with the Blue Jays. 2-0, man, in a hole.
Now, they need Donaldson to go off. I mean, he hit one last night. Looked like it was going to get out. Didn't happen. Could have ended the ball game. They need Josh Donaldson to get on the roll.
Joe Carter ain't walking through that door.
Nope.
3rd and 4. Nice cutback by Geis. Still on his feet. And finally necktied back at the 20-yard line. Well, folks, not quite the 200-yard day plus rushing that most people thought Fournette might go for today. So that streak ends at 3. Still pretty prolific at 158, Rod.
And he becomes the 10th guy to get to 1,000 yards in only 5 games. That is remarkable. He has a shot at getting a couple thousand yards plus this season, which definitely would get him to New York for the Heisman ceremony. Whether he is the guy who wins it or not, we got a few weeks to figure that out.
Geis getting to the edge. And stops the clock with 1 second to go. So LSU can improve to 5-0 on the season. And the guy from the 7th Ward, his neighborhood, his block, Leonard Fournette, doing a big part today offensively.
How about that offensive line? That offensive line did a great job. A couple 100-yard rushers, 350 yards or so today.
Yeah, Po' Boy's got to be on the running backs today. Taking the offensive lineman out. 45-24 the final, as LSU makes it 6 consecutive wins against South Carolina. And let's go down to Quint with Leonard Fournette.
Leonard, congratulations. Shaking hands. I know the events in South Carolina hit close to home for you, having experienced Katrina. What was this week like?
Oh, before we started, I'd like to read something that I typed up just for them. Something I just typed for the people out there in South Carolina. I want to send my prayers, condolences, and empathy to the people of South Carolina. What they are going through reminds me of what we went through, my people in New Orleans, Louisiana, went through 10 years ago with Hurricane Katrina. We played a game today that the people of South Carolina right now in need. I would like to auction off my game jersey as is to the highest bidder to help out the relief efforts. People of Louisiana not only cares, but know firsthand what you South Carolina are going through.
Why did you write that, and why do you think that's the right thing to do?
It's the best thing to do, man, because I know what we went through for Katrina, and they're going through something similar. And it's a hard thing to go through, and I have faith in them, and they're going to bounce back from it.
As far as this game's concerned, first half, not the first half that we're used to seeing from you. What was most challenging?
Nothing. They just came out to play. You know, some mental errors on our part. And halftime came, we came in and fixed it.
What happened on your touchdown run in the third quarter?
Just couldn't get caught. That's the only thing in my mind. Don't get caught from behind.
Congratulations, Leonard.
Thank you.
That tells you everything you need to know about Leonard Fournette. Auctioning off his game jersey with the proceeds to go to the relief effort. Underscoring the point that this is really just football. It's just sports. The people of South Carolina, remember, we all stand with you across America. Good luck with the future and with your relief efforts. Coming up next, it's College Football Scoreboard for Rod and Quint. I'm Mark Jones. We love you, South Carolina. So long from Baton Rouge.